just easy 1, 2, 3 PowerPoint, guys. If you've been here before, you know REI Live Columbia. We are all about networking. We're all about doing deals, trying to learn how to excel together as a industry. So real estate investors, agents, attorneys, other people that work with us. The more we can do together, the better we can be. And if we can shorten that learning curve, we'll all do better. So that's why we're bringing in people like Brandon to help us do that. So first, we do like to try to start with deals, and this is a little bit different because it's virtual, but let's make it like a hot deal. Does anybody have a wholesale or flip deal, something that they're trying to sell, that there might be a buyer in this group? You can unmute yourself and say it real quick, or put it in the chat, and then I can read it from the chat. If I can see the chat. Let's see, where's the chat? There we go. Anybody have any deals out there to sell? If not, then it's a good thing Brandon's here, because he's going to show us how to get some good wholesale deals, how to get something, pick it even when it's hard, even when we can't go see the property. I know we've had a lot of people calling and trying to do some creative financing, some creative deals. So some subject twos, owner financing. This is that time where people are okay with getting creative, because the market's not a sure thing, hot, easy sale for sellers. So we're getting a lot of those right now. So we'll move on. Ted still has that property on North Shore. And if you guys haven't seen that, put a comment so that you can get on his buyer's list and our buyer's list. Put your email in there. And I know that property is like really big. It's got some good square footage right on the edge of Forest Acres near Percival Road. So good in and out artery. If you guys have any questions on that, I know Ted can get you in it. It's not a big project at all. It's livable and pretty good deal. So, and Rosewood, is that the, can't think of the name of the street now. Ellery? No, that's not it.
Eureka Street.
Eureka, I knew it started with an E. So there's that one in Rosewood. Freddie's, are you on here? Do you have anything out there from our group? I think we've sold everything we had available, or at least assigned it. All right, cool. Well, that's easy enough. Then we guys get, we did do a wholesale little workshop. If there's anybody that doesn't know what wholesaling is or hasn't really got started, shoot me a DM or an email, or you can post a comment on Facebook and I'll get to you. But it's a really quick, well, I say quick, it's like 3 hours long and really dives deep into wholesale to help you understand what that is and how to get started. And then we can help you from there. So just so you all know what REI Live is and who we are, these are the brands that you'll see when we're here, when we're working through REI Live, or Freedom Finders is our coaching program, Lucas Properties is our flipping, and then Columbia Cash Home Buyers, that's our wholesale. So those are the brands you'll see from myself, Meredith, or anybody in our group, that these will, depending on what we're working on, these are the brands that you'll see. So you'll know that that's us. And if you have questions about anything with these related, just let me know. REI Live is our biggest and best source for networking and education for everybody. So we always talk about what's the agenda. Today, guys, when you're on this call, if you're new, you need to know why you're here. Don't just come here just to hang out and listen to us talk for an hour. It doesn't make any sense. If you're trying to learn real estate investing as a business, well, that's your agenda. That's why you're here. But if you already know that you want to buy a house or get a college student rental, then that's your agenda. You need to be working on that, not just showing up and listening. but actively engaging, asking questions, finding out who in this group can help you get to the next step. That's what networking is. Networking is not just passing out business cards. It's knowing that you need something or you want to do something for your business, for your career, and understanding that there's somebody out there that can help you get there. There's no reason for you to go and try to reinvent the wheel. There's no reason for anybody in this group to do the 10 years of trial and error that I did when you have myself or people in this group that have done it for 10, 12, 13 years. You could skip that, skip all the headaches, skip all the pain, and get right to action. So know why you're here, get to work on it, reach out to somebody, make comments, get to know who's in this group. What to expect. So this is us. This is what we do. We're education driven. We're here to help. We're here to train. We have, some really specific one-on-one training, as well as this REI Live that's really broad and try to get different topics covered. So this is what we're here for. We're going to bring in keynote speakers from across the country, even do it virtually. Guys, take a screenshot of this, take a picture of it. We are keeping these events as scheduled, and who knows, maybe by September we might see each other in person again. Who knows? These are our sponsors, and these are the current sponsors right now, guys. Every one of these people have helped us put this group together. They help us pay for this. They help us get you all together. The website, the background, everything is done thanks to these sponsors, and we ask that they be part of the group and be able to help with real estate investors. So when they are, when you reach out to one of these sponsors, they understand real estate investors, they understand where you're coming from, and they're here to help. And they're going to give you a good deal, they're going to give you a discount, or just be there for maybe some free advice or something because of REI Live. And I did want to say, is Richard, are you on? I don't think he's here. I wanted to get Richard, yeah, you're muted. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, his mic's on the fritz. I just got in the notes. All right, Richard, we'll do a Facebook Live with you later when that mic works. But he's with Modern Woodman and it's financial advisors. He's got some really cool things that make sense for real estate investors, how to use your money and kind of double use your money, invest it, and then also invest it in real estate. So Richard, we'll do something for you to get you the word out with you in Facebook. All right. And so I don't want to spend this virtual through the Zoom call is unique. And you guys, I think you all know us entrepreneurial people, we like to move, we like to shake, we don't like to sit still and stare at the screen. So this makes it a little bit difficult to have these meetings, so I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to get you guys bored before we get to the good stuff. So I don't want to sit here talking too much. I know you guys are really here to learn from an expert outside of Columbia, outside of me. You've heard me talk about wholesaling before. I want to introduce Brandon Barnes. Brandon is in Atlanta, been doing this for a couple years now, a fellow tribe member, and really just knocking it out of the park when it comes to wholesaling. And why I asked him here is because he's been doing it from the beginning with a kind of a virtual model. So he's local in Atlanta, but the people that work for him are not. So I'll let him answer the questions. I will be on the chat. You guys, if you have comments or questions, put them in there so that we can have some interaction, and then Q&A at the end as well. And so Brandon, I'm not going to take your fire. I want to let you tell your story, where you came from, and jump into it. So I've already made you a co-host. So I'm going to stop my screen share, and then it's all you, buddy.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. For those of you that were at the Christmas event, I was there. I got to come out and see Tom, of course. That was a good time for me to come and hang out with Andrew and Michelle. Went to dinner. It was a really nice time. So really enjoyed, the warmth and the welcomeness that they gave me. So it was a great group, great event, and you guys know how to party, right? Had the food set up and the drinks and everything. So I appreciate it. And as you guys see, I have REI Live Atlanta. I kind of just fell into it. I'll tell you the whole story about my start in real estate investing, but specifically for REI Live, Brian Tripp actually started in Atlanta with a different person in mind, and then did the first 2 months, and then it didn't work out, and he asked me to take it over. And I originally wasn't wanting to do that. I felt like, once you step into that spotlight, if you will, it's no turning back. You got to do content, you got to do events, you got to, sell yourself, sell your course. And I never wanted to be a big time coach, but I am a people person and I enjoy speaking and sharing. I got a family full of coaches and teachers. And so this kind of falls in line. So I guess it was just my time. And so as of last May, coming up on 1 year, I've been running REI Live Atlanta, and we do the same thing that you guys do. We exist to instruct, empower and educate folks to take action and make money in real estate. That's exactly what I know Andrew is doing a great job. Andrew and Michelle are doing a great job with you guys, and myself and my wife, Vanessa, do the same thing here in Atlanta. So a bit of a background on me. I'm from here, family near Chicago. I started at Georgia State University, but I went on to Purdue University and graduated from there with a management degree. And at that time, it was coming right out of like the '08 crisis. And I was never a big numbers guy. And my dad, who's an accountant, and I ran from numbers, he said, hey, a good major to take up is maybe operations or supply chain, logistics. It was a new thing. And it was the best thing that was for me, because I like to solve problems. I'm creative. I'm not creative. I'm inquisitive. Like I want to learn. I want to figure things out. And he knew that in me. And it was a good opportunity because they have a really great operations program. So when the crash of '08 happened, I had an internship lined up for Caterpillar, and that got canceled. I came home and I worked on the ramp as a Delta airline employee, driving the tugs and the baggage carts and stuff like that. But I learned about staging and logistics and having, specific processes that all work together as an operation. I took that and interned with the H.J. Heinz company and started my career there as a supply chain lead. And I was going to rotate from city to city, plant to plant for 3 years and come out as a manager. But literally after that first year, Heinz got bought out by Berkshire Hathaway and 3G Capital after they moved me to Iowa. Then I got a local job there at the Kraft Oscar plant and ended up in a production supervisor role. And fast forward, I came down to Atlanta because I always wanted to get back to home. I was going to work in the Florence plant in South Carolina and get closer to home. But when they got bought out, I got a job at Unilever. And I came back home in May. By October, me and Vanessa got married. And I had 2 weeks later, I got fired from Unilever. And they came up with some reason to fire me. I immediately sued and got wrongful termination, but it was an opportunity. It was a blessing in disguise, because I reached out to a buddy of mine that I met in Pittsburgh and asked him about this real estate thing. And he had some rentals, and he said, hey, come over. This is great mentor program. I'm going to share everything with you. We're going to drive for dollars. We're going to do all these things. That turned out to be Tom Kroll and Wholesaling Inc. And so from January 2016, I started to learn and learn how to wholesale the right way from a good mentor right out the gate. But that history that I shared that with you was because I've always applied what I learned in real world examples, such as large production systems, processes, having people in place to do specific tasks, to building out this business and having, you know, a standard operating procedure. And that's all going to come into play when I share my screen with you here in 2 seconds, is that I siloed, I looked for efficiencies and I siloed the different pieces of the process, and that allowed us to go virtual without going belly to belly. So from 2016, and I know, Andrew, you mentioned that I started off doing things virtually. Well, I started off in 2016 doing everything that Tom Kroll told me to do. And it was, you know, go belly to belly, build incredible rapport, and do deals that way. So that first year I was doing things that way. By the end of that year, Brent Daniels was in the mastermind group within Wholesaling Inc. talking about TTP and cold calling and all his success. Actually, it wasn't TTP, because TTP didn't exist at that time. And he was such a go-giver that I reached out and he shared information with me about cold calling. So I was on the cold calling train before TTP was even a thing. And so in 2017, we started that. And I hired a team in May of 2017, hired some cold callers, but I myself was trying to play acquisition manager. I was trying to lead the team. I was trying to make sure the marketing was going out, trying to make sure deals got sold, and it was way too much. And we hardly could ever get out contracts, offers. And that was the big kind of aha moment, was if I'm not getting out offers, then we're not going to do deals. So how can we get out more offers? Additionally, at the same time, there was a guy, 2 brothers, Adam and Luke Swamley, that talked about they were doing this death to podio thing. They did not want to deal with the CRM anymore. They showed how they were able to keep the leads inside of Mojo to create incredible follow-up opportunities where they power dial all of their leads and they submit their offers through the phone. With that, I then, to make that work, I had to get a great script in place, and some people on the phone to deliver the process, to deliver offers, and then also give them a quick, surefire way to submit an offer that was going to be reasonable enough to do the deal. So big, long-winded way of giving you kind of an intro, just put you in the mindset of where I was middle of 2017, actually towards the end of 2017, when I decided to stop going to appointments in person and start to do deals where we don't see the property until after it's under contract. Sound good? You guys ready? Okay, cool. So I was up super late on over the weekend, Saturday, working on this, because Friday, because I presented it on Saturday to another event. And it's still, it's still not the prettiest presentation, but it's making the shift, doing the same deals that you're currently doing virtually. If I can get it to go forward. Cool. So I start with this because every time I present, these are my 3 keys to success for you guys. It's being consistent, it's continuing to learn and develop, and then leveraging networking and mentorship. You guys are already learning and developing right here. If you've been coming to these events with Andrew and Michelle, I hope you're being consistent with that. And then networking, you guys are here networking and you're looking for mentorship. And with those 3 things, you will have success in this business. Honestly, it's about who you talk to and what you do. Consistently continue, learn and grow, and then network and develop yourself through mentors. The Death to Podio. So like I said, Andrew Lucas and them, Andrew Lucas, Adam and Luke Swamley did this video about killing Podio. This was like at the end of 2017. And I was like running the business, playing acquisition manager, was never closing the sales loop. I was never really submitting offers. It was a good week if I got out 10 offers. If you can't get out offers, you can't get anything under contract. Plain and simple, right? I also needed to be more efficient because I was driving to appointments and I still have my team and everything else. And if you guys are on social media at IMB Barnes, I appreciate if you guys went and followed. I'm still trying to continue to grow my audience so that I can continue to share everything that I learned with you directly. So keep it in the dialogue. The way that you can kill your CRM is if you replace it with something. This doesn't depend on if you're just cold calling, because we send out letters for probate leads. We get online leads. We also do text messaging, but anytime we get a lead, we add that into Mojo Dialer as a wholesale, maybe yes, a lead, and we set a follow-up for our acquisition manager. So if you've ever seen Mojo, you have your list, but then you can group them and then you can set follow-ups. So my acquisition manager, and it was a woman before that, and she was great as well. But they can go into their calendar and say, hey, this is everybody that I should be calling now, in the future, and in the past. They can just power it out and have good conversations with these leads, because that's all it is. You're trying to take them through your sales system. You need a auto dialer. We used Mojo. Now we use call tools. It doesn't matter as long as you can group a lead and set a follow up for yourself. You need a phone service. So that's like a call rail, like some place that's going to provide you different phone numbers, tracking phone numbers that you can use in the auto dialer. And then you need an email provider. If you know anything about Mojo, you can do everything in Mojo. You can, upload files to the different contacts. Like you can upload a purchase agreement. You can group it as it's under contract, leave your notes throughout. You can email directly from it, but I would still suggest that you have an outside email provider, like a MailChimp, like an active campaign, to send your marketing out. And then you can leverage that as your CRM on the disposition side. So we keep all the sellers in Mojo, all the buyers in, MailChimp. And then CallRail just has any one-off calls back or voicemails, and that's how we create the numbers there and put them into Mojo. So those three things, you don't need a $200 CRM. And I'm not telling you guys to go out and kill Podio, right, or anything else, but it's an option. And it's an option, especially if you're newer, it's going to speed up the rate at which you contact the homeowners that you're trying to get under contract. The needed roles for this, you need lead generation, and that could be a cold caller, or that could be online, that could be whatever. I'm not going to say that that's a role, but you need lead generation in some shape or form. For us, it's a cold caller. It's a few cold callers. We have an administrative VA. So I know a lot of people call VAs. They say, I have a VA and this person is their caller. Well, I don't call them that. My cold callers, they're cold callers, or they're prospectors. A VA in my business, to me, is a virtual assistant. They're there to assist you with things in the business. That administrative VA is going to do a lot, and we'll get to that in a second. And also, you need an acquisition manager, because nobody's going to be able to run the business and then also continue to contact, reach out, and follow up with all the leads that you're generating. So when I break that down further, the lead gen, this could be cold calling, this could be direct mail, online, any and all, whatever you get in your lead generation, you can just put those as a file, a contact in your auto dialer. Your administrative VA, this person is super important. I've had Nicole with me since 2016. I hired her at $4.50 an hour. She makes, well over $20 an hour. She's like an executive administrative assistant. She even helped her move to Toronto, increased her rate, but she literally has her hand on the pulse of the entire business. When I say seller marketing, that's, pulling the lists, cleaning the lists, skip tracing the list, uploading to the auto dialer, responding to text and voicemails and making sure everything just runs smoothly. Buyer marketing, that VA. A VA that does not call for you can do so much. I think people don't realize how much a virtual assistant really can do. Buyer marketing, they're also responding to all the buyer inquiries. They're putting together emails to be blasted out. to your buyers list there, you know, making sure that everybody's engaged. Dialer management. There's a lot of stuff that has to be cleaned up in the auto dialer. For us in our process, once it goes from prospector to acquisition manager and he's calling, he's going to say in there, send offer 80K standard terms he's going to set it as a task to the VA. She'll then submit the offer electronically and then clear his previous follow-up and set a follow-up for him as an offer sent follow-up to reach back out within a day or two. So it's like a never-ending loop that VA is going to not only send the offer, they're going to set the reminder for the acquisition manager to follow up on every offer sent. CRM management. I know it's kind of duplicitous, but it's, you know, whatever else that you do have, if you need to add people into Mojo or to, you know, your email, they're going to be able to do that the same way with your email management. But the biggest thing, this person is here to send offers. So your acquisition manager is literally talking to, and I'll share that, your new wholesale leads, your offers sent, the hot appointments. They respond back to emails because our offers are sent via email. They're going to respond back and forth via email or any SMS that comes in place. And guys, by the way, if you have any questions, use the chat box. I'll get to them. I can't see them right now, but I'll get to them. But please have any questions put into the chat box because I won't remember. But my acquisition manager literally comes and he has 3 buckets. It's all the new leads, all the people he sent offers to. And then if it's something that's like super hot, I need to call this person back tomorrow at 12 o'clock, or, hey, this is a really good offer. Not only is he gonna have a follow-up, he's gonna set an appointment for himself so he doesn't forget. With all of this, your phone skills are essential. You know, there's some great books and I'm gonna share some with you, but ultimately, when it was time to put a person in this seat to just be on the phone, we had to create a script. Everybody has the cold calling script that's out there, right? The Brent Daniels CTP cold calling script, but how many people actually have an acquisition manager script? And this doesn't have to have every sentence you would ever say, but it's more of a sales system than it is a script. There's 7 groups. There's 7 groups, and before I mess it up, I'm gonna share with you. Sorry guys. I'm gonna share with you exactly what those groups are. Your warm up. You set your agenda. Number 3 is you qualify and diagnose. Number 4 is you describe, feature, sell, benefit. Number 5 is you make your offer. Number 6 is you get closed. And number 7 is you boomerang. So this is the framework within all conversations are had. Regardless of if this is the first time my AM has reached out or the 5th, he's always going to start back from the top and try to take them through the entire sales system. Because people that I've sent this script to are like, hey, well, I can never get through the whole thing. I can never get to submitting the offer. Well, it doesn't matter. You're taking them as far as you can get them. And then next time you're going to start all over again. So first time, you know, I'm introducing myself. But the second time I'm calling back and saying, hey, John, you know, hey, this is Brandon Barnes. I was calling again about your house at 123 Main Street. How's it going? Is this still a bad time to talk? Hey, you know, it's been a while. Just wanted to check back in with you. Yeah, well, great. Hey, I wanted to talk to you specifically again about the agreement that I sent over. What did you think about it? You're setting the agenda again for the second call. Hey, well, you know what, you know, again, you know, this is what we do. You had mentioned last time that you had a tenant you wanted to get out of the property. You're qualifying and diagnosing. Well, hey, I know that can be tough, but we want to still be able to help you through this. And then you describing the feature. Well, we can actually, you know, make sure that, you know, tenant has some money to move. And that's just going to help them get out even quicker. Okay, great. Well, hey, last time I said that I could do 50K, you know, I might be able to do 52. and then, you know, getting closed, everything that you're going to talk about, like, hey, this is our process, this is how we get closed. And then lastly, that boomerang is you're going to like, hey, well, again, you know, are you sure you want to do this? Because you could go and list this property with an agent. You're going to throw that deal out there and have them bring it back. No, for sure, I want to do this with you. So the script is not just a script. It's a sales system that we stick to. And I got that from Todd Toback. He has a sales system in his business, and it's gold. I've added in some John Martinez into this, as well as a few other mentors that I've had along the way. But the sales system is everything, especially when you're on the phone. And there's some books I'm going to share with you. I'm also give you an opportunity to request this script. The big part of this is that everyone gets an offer. Everyone, unless they say that, no, I don't want an offer. We could be 50K apart. We can be literally 50K apart, and we're going to say, hey, I don't know if I can do that, but hey, what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to send you my best offer that I can make. Because there's going to be those people that the offer does work for up front. There's going to be those people that you're really kind of close on, but then there's going to be people that they say, hey, I want the moon, but then, you know, once you send the offer, it just gets signed. So if you're not sending an offer every time you get an opportunity, you're not going to be able to do as many deals as you could. It's super, super important that you send an offer to absolutely everybody that you speak to, unless they say, hey, don't call me no more, I don't want your offer. That's the only time that we don't send an offer. This is the most important principle about wholesaling, period, but especially virtually, because there's gonna be so many people that'll go out to that property and they may or may not get back to them and send them an offer. We like to send them through electronic signature requests. We've done DocuSign before. We use PandaDoc right now. The cool thing is we send an offer on the first or second conversation that we have. A lot of people like, hey, I'm gonna ping pong back and forth with you, and I'll eventually get to actually submitting an offer because I don't want my offer to be wrong. Well, you're gonna get a one up on that person just by sending it, even if it is wrong, because they're gonna respond back most likely via email or text, hey, I didn't like that offer, but you're continuing the conversation. If you can take one thing from this presentation, it's that an offer is just another marketing piece. It can help you continue the conversation. It's just another marketing piece. You sent them something that they will have that then you can continue a conversation. But if you had a conversation with them and you never sent an offer, they're going to forget about you tomorrow. But if they get something, that's going to allow you to continue the conversation. That cool piece I was telling you is that even though we send the offer in the first or second conversation, just so that they know we're serious, and then we can tweak it and fine tune it, it's oftentimes that we actually don't get an agreement signed until the 8th through the 12th touch, the 8th through the 12th callback. But it's speak to everybody, send an offer to everybody, but follow up like a machine. That is the key. Close the sales cycle with every conversation, which is you're revisiting that sales system and you're taking them through. And if you call them back again, you're just warming up again. You're going through the process and you're taking them through. And you're trying to get close to that boomerang. And our acquisition manager is gold at sending 50 offers each and every week. In our business, every 25 offers, one gets signed. This is how you do this virtually. And honestly, this is how you should do it regardless of the situation. You should be giving an offer, delivering an offer to everybody. Even if you were even if we weren't in a global pandemic, global shutdown, right? If I was going to every appointment, I need to send an offer, but that's how it goes. You're running around so much that when you get back, you actually maybe sometimes forget to actually send the offer, or maybe you give them a verbal and you thought that was sufficient. Well, they got something that same price in writing, they might go with that guy. Don't be that guy. Well, no, be that guy. Don't be who you formerly were. So cool. How do you make the offer? And this is going to be a little too in depth for IG, so I'll hop off. But you make the offer based upon as is comps. And I have a buddy, Tag Thompson. I know Andrew knows him as well. He put it like this. And as is comparable home sales, a comparable home sale price is superior to estimating ARV and rehab and repair costs, because ultimately you're uh, the whole ARV times 0.7 minus repairs, that's just an estimate within an estimate. You're guesstimating what ARV is and you're guesstimating your repair costs. You could do better by just sending offers based on what you see as sold comps. And, you know, there is some level of, you know, hey, well, this house may be a little bit more messed up, so I'm going to add a little extra dollar amount to it. But honestly, it's you are basing your offer off of as is sold comps, point blank, period. There's three types. There are as is comps. If you look at any property on Zillow, you got subject property. It's 1,500 square feet. It's a brick ranch. If you draw on the map, so you pull in only comps that are within the main roads in the immediate area, you know, hopefully within the neighborhood, you're gonna look for sold rehabs, recently sold rehabs, recently sold rentals, or recently sold move-in ready properties. And you can tell by the pictures, you can tell by the descriptions, and then you can get the details in the price history on Zillow. Everything is on Zillow. I have MLS, I have PropStream, I got all this fancy stuff. I've been doing this off of Zillow for years. And we've done $2 million in the last 2 years. Just cold calling list source, never going to the properties, nothing fancy. We weren't even sending text messages, weren't even really going down to the county and getting the niche list, which is a no on my part. Just go call and list source or PropStream. You can do this, and I can give you a feel for offer price from my phone. So just to break that down a little further, if I'm looking at subject property and I'm looking at something that's sold in the area and I see a nice high-end, fully finished rehab, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to scroll down, look at the price history and see what it sold for maybe a year ago. That is my assumed sales price. That's what I'm going to assume I can sell to another rehabber. So if I look, if I have a property, seller says he wants like 100K, and I look in the immediate area and I see something that just sold for 180 recently, and I look in the price history and I see that it sold for 60K a year ago, I'm going to say, hey, I think another rehabber would buy a home to be fully rehabbed at 60K. So I need to get it less than that because I'm going to sell my property at 60K. Same way with a landlord. If I'm looking in an area and my property is, you know, it's a rental area and I see a bunch of other rentals, there's watermarks on the pictures, or it has a for rent price, I'm going to see what it sold for last. And I'm going to assume that I can sell my subject property if it was move-in ready for that same price. So I'm going to knock off my margin, and that's my Mayo. Same way with the owner occupant. If I look in that immediate area and I see something that's sold with all the furnishings and furniture, it's sold move-in ready. If I can get my home that's also move-in ready, it's a similar property, I'm going to see what that sold for. I'm going to knock off my margin, which my margin, I like go with 20K, and you should, because it gives you wiggle room. And that's my maximum allowable offer. And that's just played out here. As is comp minus margin equals Mayo. And you always anchor below your Mayo. Does that make sense? Cool. So I have a cheat code for you guys. It is letsgooffer.com. Our buddy Tyke Thompson, he's a friend of both mine and Andrew's. He has this website. Andrew, do you have an affiliate code?
Yes, we do. Actually, Tag was here last month or the month before.
Okay, perfect.
If you guys scroll back into Facebook, and you can use this code or you can use the one that he gave us, they're probably, I don't know if he did the same for you, the same discounts, but it's a cheat code that, guys, you get a really good deal. So
right. Yeah, use Andrew's code, guys. Letsgooffer.com is, if you guys were here for that, it's based on the exact same principle. It looks for comps, and it and takes off. It gives you a sweet spot. You put in your condition, it gives you a sweet spot with 20K built in for how you make, for you to make money on that property. So this property, Joyner Ave Southeast, if you could get it under contract for 85K, it's assuming that you're going to be able to sell it for 105. So that is exactly, it's based off the same premise as what I've always done manually. So my acquisition manager, though, like we started dialing in Charlotte, and he leveraged Let's Go Offer a little bit, but ultimately I still trust my eye and his eye over this. But if you're getting going, it's based on the same premise. It gives you as is sold comps. You put in your condition of the property, it's going to match that, and it's going to build in 20K and tell you to offer X. And so you would anchor below that. It's the same exact premise as what I just shared with you guys. So what list do we go after? We go after entire landlord lists, probate, evictions, driving for dollars. Of course, probate, eviction, driving for dollars are the lists that you can build yourself. You can go down to the county, you can pull probate, you can go down here. This is South Carolina. So you guys can't pull List Source or PropStream.
We do have PropStream, and we have a code for that too, which I could put that in there as well. REI Lab has a good discount for that. And
Perfect.
Then List Source is gone. They do not provide here, but you guys, I have a video on PropStream, and you may have something in this PowerPoint, but
yeah.
That's all.
So that's how you would go after the entire landlord, which that was the vast majority of the deals we did. The vast majority of the deals were absentee owned properties. We were pulling them from List Source. Now we pull them from PropStream as well. If you guys have PropStream, that gets the vast majority of my deals were this right here. Probate is a smaller list. Eviction is a timing list. Driving for dollars. I haven't spent the time to put somebody in place to drive consistently, but you can do a lot with absentee owned properties. And especially in this period we're in right now, you know, those are where you should be keying in on, but more specifically, you should be trying to key in on vacant properties, which I believe PropStream also gives you the opportunity to pull vacant properties, because it's just easier to sell that deal when COVID is going on, right? A quick tip, I did a video earlier today, three things to tell a seller is that you're gonna give them an increased timeline to close if they have tenants or they need to move out. The second thing is that we are going to come with proper protection if we come and do an inspection and walkthrough, come with masks, come with gloves, and if we need to show it one at a time. And then the third thing I would suggest that you guys tell a seller if you're having a conversation with them is, hey, we'll try to do as much virtually as possible. So if we are going to sell a property or if we want to share it with others, you know, first, if you have any pictures of the property, we'll go and create our marketing off of that. But then we'll also try to do a virtual walkthrough for others so we can keep less people in your property. But just a quick tip. Just a few more slides, guys. The gold is in the follow-up. I got this cheesy, I literally Googled the gold is in the follow-up, and this was a picture that popped up. A cheesy little PowerPoint picture, but it's so true. And it was a whole article on this, but 81% of all sales happen after the fifth contact. Tell me how you could follow up with every lead that you generate 5 to 10 times if you're also running around driving to every appointment. It's like virtually impossible unless you just have somebody that's just doing that while you go to the appointment, which, you know, it's a decent setup. But in the beginning, how many people have, you know, the large enough team to have, you know, a cold caller, a acquisition person, and I'm going on every appointment, and I'm running the business, and I'm selling every property, and I'm networking, and I'm building and working on myself. So you can do that acquisitions process over the phone, and right now, frankly, you have to. But this only works as if you follow up, and you follow up consistently every day. My guy is just redialing the entire list. Everybody that, you know, is new, everybody that we've sent offers to already, and everybody that was hot, and he just wants to pick them off one by one. Credibility is important. I think in the virtual model, one thing that I did early on, I used Carrot, and I used to just go and do videos with the sellers at the closing table. I mean, if you can, it's good to have. I do like Carrot because it's just very simple, and you can you can leverage a testimonial page so that you can always share like, hey, this is something that we do. Where was the PowerPoint? Can you guys still see the PowerPoint? Thumbs up. Okay. I also went and did the Better Business Bureau, just to have that credibility, because we are taking people through the process. And one thing that I would also suggest as you start to do deals, make sure that everybody on your team knows the story of each deal so that they can speak to that when they're talking to sellers. Like, hey, yeah, we actually closed on one. A few months ago, they had a tenant. They were going through the eviction. We actually helped them file the eviction, show them exactly where to do this, and then was there, to help change the locks after the eviction was over. Because if you're able to solve, and everybody says this, if you're able to solve people's problems, they'll want to do deals with you, and if they like you, of course, they'll want to do deals with you. But whatever problem you can solve for them to make the process just that much easier, you're going above and beyond what a real estate agent likely will do. Not always, but you're going above and beyond to solve their problem and help them, secure whatever future they want by, through this real estate transaction. And that's kind of maybe an overblown statement, but some people really there was literally a seller that just wanted to sell his house, sell everything, and move to somewhere in the island, somewhere in South America, and retire. And he couldn't do it until he got the house sold. But he had bad history with tenants. Everything was all left in the house, completely trashed. He couldn't list it. So I went over there. I helped him get the stuff out. We changed the locks, put a lock box, showed the property as is, got it sold, and he was able to move on. And so we can speak to that with other sellers. We leveraged them for a testimonial as well, as an example for future sellers. Cool. So that learning and development piece. So the consistency through all of this is when I was going down and pulling the probate leads and eviction leads, like I was literally at 4 different counties every week, and I was just very consistent. Our prospectors are very consistent in their dialing. Acquisition managers are very consistent in his follow-up, his offer generation. With consistency in this business, everybody says it's a numbers game. You're just consistency in making offers. You're giving yourself more at-bats. The learning and development piece, even if you're not cold calling, Fanatical Prospecting is an awesome book, even if you're not cold calling, because it's just going to help you or you could skip to objections. That book was a number 2. It just helps you through understanding how to conversate with the homeowner. I really enjoy those 2. And of course, Never Split the Difference is a good negotiating book. This kind of advanced tactics. I would start with a Fanatical Prospecting or an objections. And then when you are ready to fire yourself, I read this book by Brian Elwood, and I actually used some of his tactics and tips and tricks in the Acquisition Manager script. Networking and mentorship. You guys already are doing that. REI Live Columbia, just replace that logo, that Atlanta logo of Columbia, and you got it. If you're interested in the mentorship, I do have a coaching program. I had maybe a higher ticket coaching program, but now I have like a modules only version that just specifically speaks to, because there's a lot of different people that can show you from A to Z, show you how to do different things. This is specifically about how I transitioned from a in-person face-to-face to a virtual model, which goes through scripts, call recordings, etc. But it's also gives you a feel for how the mojo piece works, like how you group, how you set follow-up, how you keep folks in the dialer. That's the critical piece of the coaching. And then of course the resources, you guys, I think Andrew has all of these as well. There's nothing to see there. If you are interested though in the acquisition manager script, just text your first and last and email address, and I can get that over to you to this number, 678-505-1020. I'll send you over the script. And I think some of the coaching students that I've had in the past just didn't realize that they weren't completing the play. They were having the conversations, they were taking the process, maybe giving a verbal. But they didn't. You have to close the whole sales loop. You have to get through it and have a line of sight on what you're trying to do. Be patient. Be patient. Take them. This is a longer conversation. Our prospecting conversations, our cold calling conversations are a few minutes. The acquisition managers conversations maybe 10 plus. But you got to be patient. Take them methodically, step by step, through the process, and by having those kind of overarching headers and understanding of like what part of the system you are in. Because if you get thrown off or you get a curveball or somebody hangs up and you got to get back on the phone, you'll know like, hey, well, I've already warmed up. I've already set the agenda. I've kind of qualified and diagnosed. I need to describe the feature, sell the benefit, and make this offer and get closed. Like you'll just know, hey, I go here and I finish through the process. I tell my VA to send that offer, or you can do it yourself if you're at that stage in your business. But super, super important resource. I'm very proud of it. And that's it, guys. That is it. I don't know how I can turn off the screen record. There it is. Cool.
Awesome. Hey, Brandon, that was incredible, guys. I know it's different watching that on TV like or on the computer like this through Zoom. Brandon, he has a whole lot more to this. He makes it sound easy, but there's so much to that, and that script is phenomenal. I hope you guys text him, and I've got some people who sent their emails in the chat.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure you
do me a
get
favor.
those.
I won't be able to get to him quick enough, but I'll put the phone number. It's 1020.
Yeah. Can you put that in the chat there? My chat.
First, last email. I'll send it out tomorrow.
All right, there we go.
Script.
So I did have one question that came through that I saw, and guys, if you had other questions, go ahead and put them in now so we can get to them. But someone asked, I think it was Chris, said, what do you put in PropStream when you're looking for tired landlords?
Mainly it's a absentee owned filter, to be honest. I use ListSource from the very beginning. I just recently switched to PropStream. My assistant Nicole does all of that stuff now. So I haven't really learned PropStream through and through, but ultimately it would be, you're looking for mailing address different from the owner's address or the property address that's absentee owned. And then you can also do house built or bought before a certain time period. So it's usually an older home, so built or bought before 1990 or maybe 2000. One thing that I will suggest is that everybody put in a filter for last market sale date and last market sale price, just because you don't want something that was last sold above 150 or 200K. Really like 200K is the kind of median. If you're a smaller market, maybe 150. And then last market sale date, I don't want anything that has been sold since like 2010. So I don't want anything that's been sold in the last 10 years, and I don't want anything that's been sold at some high price, because they're likely not going to be interested in our offers.
That's true. Well, I don't know. In coronavirus market situations, you never know what you're going to get. So, but you're absolutely right. In PropStream, you can, and there is actually a thing for absentee owners, and it's pre-filled out, but you can also go in and set that market sale date. So we don't do anything that's sold in the last 6 years.
Okay.
So 2014. If it's sold after 2014, then the market had already come up, and we're probably not going to get there, right? And they haven't paid down any principal on their loan, so we don't send that out. We also
That's smart.
we do include unknown market sale date, and that can sometimes get a few that are, for whatever reason, didn't pull correctly, and they might have bought it last year, but that's no big deal. So,
Nice.
how has the coronavirus affected the Atlanta market? Have you seen anything change yet?
For us, buyers is a little skittish. It's I've had a deal that was under contract and to be closed prior to the coronavirus, like things shutting down, and they've stuck with it. We're actually going to close it out next week. I don't know if you saw a video from me. I was like trying to get the bond release from it. It was an issue that held up title. The buyer like doubled down. They, extended it for us. So like there are buyers that are still buying. That and another deal I've been making, that they're rentals. Like it's the high end fix and flips, or the very, perspective, like, hey, I'm gonna, fix and flip and sell it at 350. Like those deals, houses and buyers are not really buying, and those aren't really attractive deals anyways. But for us, if you can find a great property that, with, whatever work that needs to be done will still be a nice cash flowing rental, like, 10% rule, 1% rule, those buyers are still hungry. Other than that, I mean, we're fine. We had a county shut down. The closing attorneys are doing virtual closings. That's the only adjustments that they've made. But buyers are still hungry for rental deals, just not as many high-end fix and flips. And then, of course, we just have to have some caution with going and showing and inspecting the property. But that's about it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to see. I will say that there is a theory that those rentals will start to get even better because real estate hedges against inflation. So we'll see as we are printing trillions of dollars at the Treasury,
Right.
creates inflation. So smart buyers may be actually jumping in.
Right.
So big buyers, hedge funds and that sort of thing. So we'll see what that turns out to be. But yes, if you're planning to buy a 1,500 square foot house, that flipper that would normally add on another 1,200 square foot of living space, those type deals probably aren't happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we are still seeing buyers come through here locally. And we have another prop stream question, so I might help you on this one too, since I know.
Yeah, please do. Well, the one thing I'll say, if he's asking about pulling comps, like I know that it has a feature to pull comps and stuff, but I'm literally using Zillow to just see a sold property, a sold comp, if you will, something that was similar that sold as is to either a rehabber, landlord, or owner occupant, and then I'm gonna take my margin off of that, and then that's my Mayo.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was going to get at. PropStream is incredible. It gives you every piece of information you need or could ever want, but it gives you more than you need, and you could sit there for hours and not call that seller back, and then the next guy like Brandon will say, I found my one Zillow, I'm good, I'm calling. So don't get lost in the PropStream. You can do it on Zillow. PropStream will pull every property within a quarter mile, tenth of a mile, whatever. You can nail it down, but it's a little bit overkill. So it's really easy to do on there. You just click comps and it's there. Sometimes I do that just for fun. If I really want to get to know a market, a neighborhood, what I can do with something I own, I want to buy for myself. But if I'm trying to wholesale it, don't waste your time getting into the weeds there. Let's see, I've got some other comments. Let's see, 10% rule. I think he just misspoke. That was the 1% or the 2% rule of if the rent is 1% of the purchase price, it's a decent deal.
Right. Yeah. And so sometimes, because I always just say, well, investor wants 10% return on their investment. So I interchange that. But yes, 1% it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
And let's see.
Aubrey, what did you sign up for?
So I think he's talking about our wholesale course.
Okay,
Aubrey,
cool.
I'll check on that because I didn't get I did not get a notification about your sign up either. So let me dive into the back end of that.
Cool.
Congrats. Yeah, that's not you, Brandon.
Yeah, no, congrats. Yeah.
Anybody with any other questions, any comments? While you got Brandon here, you got his cell phone number too, so don't blow him up tonight when you start questions.
That's a call roll number. I mean, our VAs will look at that, but yeah, feel free to just shoot a note. We'll get that over to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, really appreciate it, Brandon. And guys, REI Live Nation, Brandon is in Atlanta. We're here in Columbia. As members of this group, you have a lot of connections. You can get a lot of answers if you need them. Like I said earlier, jump over the learning curve. You don't need to bog yourself down and make so many mistakes. You have connections. You have a network here built in. So use us. That wholesale course, we jump over a ton of learning. You can do a lot of things quick, and work together. Let's take this together as people in this group. We want to see everyone succeed because it helps us all. Ultimately, I want, my friends in this REI Live group, you guys, all of you are, counted as friends and family, and I want to see all you succeed. But as Brandon's teaching you guys, he's teaching me some new stuff, and hopefully somebody in this group is going to get a deal from it, and you might sell it to another person in the group. So this is what's cool about this. Is what's so great about REI Live, and I love hearing those stories where two people, made a paycheck from one deal. So that's awesome. Brandon, you have anything else to leave us with?
No. Remember, guys, like I said in the beginning, consistency is key. Continue to learn, develop. Those are some great books I share, and then show up for the networking opportunities and mentorship. Had I not gotten a mentor from day one, I would not be here, honestly. Yeah. And so you guys have a great leader in Andrew. I haven't been to a networking event that very rarely that I did not walk away amazed at the person that I met or this conversation that I had. There's so many times that it's just like, hey, I don't feel like going. But then when you get there and you walk away like, hey, man, I met this person. This was great. I think I'm going to be able to do this and that. So continue to be consistent, continue to network. And then also, mentorship is key. Turn decades into days. Andrew's a great leader for this. And if you guys have any time, if you're coming through Atlanta months from now, give me a shout. And you can, on Facebook, my Facebook group is REI Live Atlanta. So if you guys are very welcome to come down, and you get free entry by being a member of REI Live Columbia. Just give me a shout and say, hey, I'm a member in Columbia. And you guys are always welcome to pop in on any of our meetings.
Yeah. And it's a good meeting down there. It's an easy drive. I've been to a few now. So guys, REI Live Columbia, this has been our second, I think, virtual. We will have our next virtual, what do we call it? Lunch and learn, but we changed it because you weren't there having lunch. I can't remember what we named it. Anyway, watch and learn, that's it. So we'll have our next watch and learn will be, I think, next week. So we're going to close out King Street finally. A lot of delays. I say I'm excited. I'm not really excited to share that part with you, but I'm excited for you guys to learn that, how that works. But we're finally going to get it on the market. So we will close that out and with our next watch and learn. So guys, you've got, if you're not on the Facebook group, REI Live Columbia, join that Facebook group, and then you can get in the Atlanta one as well. So looking forward to getting back together with everybody, give some high fives and some fist bumps or whatever we can do next time.
Right. Yeah, I
But
want to switch that.
yeah.
Don't spread it. No.
So, all right, you
Cool.
guys hit me up you got my cell phone number if you have any questions.
I'm
Please
gonna jump, Andrew.
comment in the Facebook group. Thanks, guys.
All right, bro.
Bye.